Hello and welcome. I thought I'd make a short little video here today just sharing an iPod repair tip of how to remove dead pixels from LCD screens, or sometimes they come up as lines as well, grey lines across the screen. This will work on a lot of the iPods that have LCD screens, so it'll work on the iPod Classic 5th, 6th and 7th gens, as well as the iPod Nano 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, not the 6th gen and the 7th gen. The reason it won't work on the 6th gen is because the screen is glued onto the front glass. So it'll work on every model where the screen isn't glued onto the glass, which is, all those Nanos, the Classics, and then the Touches up to the 3rd gen. The reason this works is just because there's a little air gap that's started to form in between the layers of the LCD, and it ends up looking like dead pixels. So you can actually get rid of this air gap just by pushing it out pretty much. What you want to do is you just want to get one of those plastic pry tools, or it's better to use plastic when doing this so you don't actually damage the screen. And then what I do in this video is I just squirt some isopropyl alcohol onto it and onto the screen as well, and then just rub the screen where those pixels are. If you don't have isopropyl alcohol, you could also do this using a microfiber cloth as well, although I wouldn't recommend doing it just bare because then you might end up scratching the screen. But just copy what I do here. As you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just moving it back and forward over the area where the dead pixels are, applying some light pressure. If you push too hard, you'll obviously just crack the screen, but you can push fairly hard without damaging it, to be honest. It's better if you do it when the screen has a white background as well. I know I don't have that in the video, but it's just easier to see all the pixels when the background is white. So you can usually go to the settings menu or something like that. And you can set the backlight timer to the max or always on or something like that, so it won't turn off while you're doing this, and that'll give you the best chance. But as you can see, now that I've started rubbing on it, those lines have started to slowly disappear. And after you're done rubbing on it, you may notice that there's a bunch of these like purpley, greeny looking pixels in the area now as well. Those will tend to fade over the course of a week or 2 or 3 sometimes. So they don't always fade. Sometimes you have to have a second go at it or just keep rubbing a little bit more. But usually if there's just a couple of dead pixels or stuck pixels on those particular colors, usually those will tend to fade. Although if they're still like grey, probably got to rub it a bit more. So of course you could always just buy a new screen when this happens, but since these iPods are getting old and the screens are becoming less and less available and probably going to get more expensive at some stage as well, this little trick will come in handy because you'll be able to save a lot more devices doing this. So as you can see, after seeing those purple and green looking pixels, I had another go at rubbing on it again, and I was able to get pretty much the rest of those out as well. Although if there are still a couple left over, again, just leave it for a couple of weeks and they'll probably disappear by themselves anyways. But I also should mention, if you're going to use isopropyl alcohol like I did in this video, make sure you don't spray too much, because if it gets in between the backlight, then it'll leave like a watermark. Most of the time the alcohol can evaporate though and not leave a mark, but still, if you spray too much in there, it won't evaporate, or it might do damage. Maybe even spray your plastic tool somewhere else so it doesn't make any damage. But now looking at it with the white background, as you can see, it's pretty much perfect. And this trick seems to work better on the LCDs with the lower pixel density, so the ones where the pixels are bigger, which is usually the earlier models. As the one I'm doing this on is a 7th gen here, the pixels are a bit smaller and it's a little bit harder to do. But this issue is very common on a lot of these old iPods. If you just leave them for a long period of time, these lines will start to appear. And from my experience, this fix is like permanent, or at least semi-permanent. The ones I've done this on, the lines usually, even after 6 months, they haven't started reappearing again. So I can't say how it'll go over like 2, 3, 4 years, but it seems to last quite a while. I'd also shown this on TikTok last year in a series of videos I made on an iPod Classic 5th gen. So I might play those now just in case you haven't seen that. Let's mod this busted iPod Classic 5th gen. When I opened it up, it was missing the hard drive and the screen wasn't even plugged in. It was obviously a collection of dead parts, so I tested it to see if we could get anything out of it. To my surprise, it actually turned on, although the LCD had lines through it and the charging port was broken. I resoldered a new charging port using my hot air rework station, which I pulled from another dead iPod. I pushed the dead pixels out of the LCD using the plastic tool and some alcohol. I wasn't able to get it 100% perfect like I did on the Nano 2nd Gen, although the remaining purple dead pixels should slowly fade over the course of the next few weeks. I then installed a brand new front plastic and decided to upgrade the hard drive to 256GB using an iFlash quad and 4 64GB micro SD cards. I also put in a brand new battery and replaced the rear housing with a glossy purple aftermarket one. After sealing it back up, I plugged it into iTunes, restored it, and loaded my music onto it, and it's now fully functional again. I think I'll use this one as my personal iPod. Comment what we should do to him next. I'm thinking either an expanded battery, Bluetooth, or Taptic engine vibrator. Follow for proof that the screen will magically fix itself. A few videos ago, I fixed the dead pixels in my iPod Classic 5th Gen by pushing them out like this. I didn't get it 100% perfect and some of them were still purple. Although I did say in a couple of weeks they should disappear and the screen will recover to normal. A few weeks has passed and this is the iPod now. As you can see, all the dead pixels have completely disappeared. The reason this works is because an air gap had formed between the layers of the LCD, and by pressing on the screen I just got rid of that air gap. This doesn't work on every LCD, but it will work on many of the old iPods. Follow if you love iPods. This iPod Nano 2nd Gen has a line of dead pixels going through the screen. Luckily, we can fix this without even replacing the LCD. All we need to do is push on the stuck pixels and they'll disappear. As you can see, we're able to get most of them out and it's not even really noticeable anymore. Sometimes after doing this, the pixels in the area can get stuck on a particular color and it's most noticeable on a black background, although they will tend to disappear after a couple of weeks. After doing this, I would let it sit for a week or two and see if it comes back. This works on most of the iPod Nanos and Classics and even some of the Touches. Follow for more iPod repair tips and tricks. So yeah, just a quick little one today here. If you enjoyed that, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, check out my website. I sell a bunch of different iPod stuff there. Bluetooth upgrade kits, parts, refurbished iPods, a bunch of stuff. Hope to see you next time. Bye.